So this is it. This is the design that actually sold the majority of those $60,000. In order to find this design, I had to maybe try to sell another 50 or 60 different t-shirts. I sold some of those, but this one is the one that actually brought the majority of the revenue. As you can see, it targets ladies from, let's say, the 60s or the 70s who actually were maybe hippies back then and who may be grandmothers at the moment. So the grandma is the grandma text. We personalize, so the ladies could change that. But actually, this design is fully mine. I designed the design using some fonts in Photoshop. I also designed the symbol, and I started selling this one, and was very happy with it. I also sold it in different colors, but this is the color, I think it's called the mauve color, that made the majority of the revenue. And this photo that you see here is actually the photo I was using on my website for selling this t-shirt. So in order to sell something like this, and if you are starting in the business of selling t-shirts, on the right-hand side of the slide, you see the things that you will need, right? You need a Shopify store. That's the one I used. They have different plans. I don't remember the prices now. You can say maybe $30, $70 on a monthly basis, but it's one of the best platforms out there for e-commerce. So I totally recommend you to use Shopify. The second thing you need is a template that is optimized for mobile. So as you will see later down, I was using Facebook ads. So then those ads were pointing at the product page, right? And so most of the people today are watching or going through their feed channel using, the mobile devices. So that's why you need a template that is optimized for mobile. And when I say optimized, it means several things. There needs to be, at the time I was using like an app that had this wheel that you would basically spin. I would give you like a discount or a price. Those type of things are relevant because you need to capture emails. You see, most of the sales will happen on the app directly, like the first time you send someone to the app using a Facebook ad. But many sales will also happen in the backend. You need to start, sending some follow-up emails, and I'll discuss this later. So Shopify is not going to give you the emails of those people. You need to capture those emails in a different way. That's where these apps come into place. The second thing you need is an add to cart button that is always permanent. So they may be scrolling up or down through the page, understanding what this design is or the characteristics of the material or the size or this or that. So you want to be an add to cart button that is always on their face, so that if they decide to buy, they don't have to scroll all the way up. This makes a huge difference. Another thing is I think we tested for different add to cart colors, and sometimes the green, but also some of the times the orange would work. You can just go into Amazon, you just grab the colors they use. They've been optimizing this for a long time. So if you use the same colors, most likely, it's another percentage in conversion that you will get. The next thing you need is once they click on the add to cart button, you need another app that gives you some pop-up where you can sell some upgrades, some upsells. Like in my case, I was selling this t-shirt, but then I was also selling the hoodie and some other, maybe a mug. So maybe you want to put those into the pop-up so that when they have made the decision to add the product into the cart, maybe they add a second one. And then you also need like an optimized checkout page. There are lots of checkout pages out there. There is one out of the box, but optimized means that it's whoever has designed that page has made sure that has the less amount of clicks necessary in order for them to make a purchase, because you want them to go from add to cart to purchase very quickly, right? And to basically buy it. And then you also need to have multiple shipping options so that there is some extra money coming to your pocket because of those extra options. Again, I think the key of this t-shirt is the personalization. The design said grandma, but it was very clear in the description that they could personalize. So I think I sold about 200 different names. And those names also meant grandma. So some ladies used grandma, some others granny, nonna, 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 lots of different combinations of how a little kid could say grandma, right? And then what else you need? You need a system in place for printing those t-shirts. Like in my case, I don't have a store that prints the t-shirts, so I was using drop shipping. But instead of shipping from China, I was basically printing on demand. So I had an account in Printful. I would send them my orders. Everything is connected in the backend, and then they would print the orders and send them to the final destinations. And also very important, you need to have an app that will keep track of the tracking numbers and the statuses you want to see, if it's already printed or not, if it's out for delivery and stuff like that. This is not a video where I'm going to give like a full course on Facebook ads for selling t-shirts, but I think it's important for you to understand how I did it in my case. That's why a little bit this summary. And then I use Facebook ads. So Facebook ads is important for you to try lots of different things, to get the demographics right and the interest of those particular groups, so you can target, music styles or particular TV shows from that period of time, singers from that period of time, all that stuff combined with a demographic of women for a particular age and stuff like that. So then the way to do it is you use either $3 or $5 Facebook ads. There is a scaling methodology that you use. You will find a lot of information out there about this. It's not the purpose of this video, but once, if you don't have a sale in a day, then you kill that. But if you have a sale, then you keep adding more money. You keep scaling it, replicating it, and that's a way for you to for scale and to sell more. So usually this initial testing happens between 1 and 3 days, and then once you have one that is a good ad that is selling, then you start scaling it. And as I said before, let's suppose you get 100 people to go to your page and some of them will buy. You want to get as many emails as possible for those 100 people, because if you're only left with 3 people who buy or 4 people who buy or 5 people who buy, that's not enough. If you get 20 emails, then you can send them follow-up emails in the backend and keep bringing them back either to the same page or different pages for you to make additional money. So this is how it's set up, and this is the design style that made the $60,000, right? Now, what are the difficulties? So the first one is personalizing all these t-shirts takes a lot of time. And so in my case, I created about 200 different names that had to be personalized. Ladies, there was a field there was like a form where they could put their name or the name they wanted. You can do this in a different way, like how to fix, how to reduce the time this takes. You can put an app out there that is going to have some personalization fields, and some of these stores now have these capabilities, or Printful may have these capabilities, but sometimes that's slow, right? And so you will see later on that I talk about the speed. The speed of the website is very important. How many seconds it takes on average for the site to load and for them to do stuff. There are tools out there that allow you to track this a little bit and to make improvements. So in my case, what I was doing is there was a very simple entry field where they would put the name. And then what I would do is I would get those names and going back to Photoshop and create a new design, export it, and then send it to the store for printing. So you can do this in a different ways, and you can also hire a virtual assistant. But then if you do that, it's going to be, the final cost of sale is going to be a bit more expensive. The next thing to consider is the returns. No matter what you do, you will get probably between 1 and 3% of returns. It's very important that you respond to everyone that is contacting you through the support channels, being an email or a telephone number. Otherwise, they'll get very upset. It's always good also to call some of these people and get feedback from them regarding the quality. I'll talk about this a bit later. But you will get between 1 and 3%. So how do you fix that? You can do it yourself. But once you start selling a lot, and it doesn't scale too well because you have to spend a lot of time. This happened to me, basically dealing with those returns, right? And so one, you can get again a virtual assistant, and there are platforms out there that allow you to do that, either in the States or outside the States. It's very important for you to have the right size chart. So t-shirt is something that you need to try on, and what you can do is you buy a few sizes or one size each, and you get a picture of a few people with those t-shirts, and you put them on the website, so you describe them very well. So then either the gentleman or the ladies buying those t-shirts, they know how they will fit. Otherwise, you'll get lots of returns. Something else you can organize is for the returns to go back to the dropshipper instead of them sending them to your personal address or your PO box. I think I ended up sending them back to the dropshipper, and I also ended up just basically asking the people to just keep those t-shirts. I would just send them a new one, and for them to keep the one that had the wrong size, because the time that it takes you to handle this is probably more valuable than just printing another t-shirt at cost and sending it to them. Something else you need to have on the website are what's called the trust badges. So the fact that you send someone through a Facebook ad to your page, that doesn't mean they'll quickly buy. They need to make sure that that page is secure. So what you do is you put the several trust logos and into the website. There are different styles you can use. It's good to put like a 1-800 free number. You need to organize this with a system out there. Some of them are very, very cheap. You can do that easily. And so that when those buyers go into the page, if they want to make a phone call, they can do that. Then you can have either a virtual assistant behind those phone calls. They can reach to you. Or what I did is I had some voiceovers, some responses that were automatic. So everything was running on automatic mode. I didn't have to spend too much time on it. The other thing is you need to have a site that shows quality, right? I see out there lots of drop shipping sites that look like crap. Don't do that. Get the best photos you can, obviously for your product, but then also for the rest of the site. Buy some stock photos. They're not very expensive. Put them on the website so it looks nice. And another thing you can do is to put reviews on the site. I didn't do this too much. It's like lying. So basically, when you go to a page and you see lots of reviews, this person just bought this, person just bought that. Some of that is real. Some of that is not real. It's, the same owner of the site basically creating those reviews so that people feel, that site is trustworthy. So don't do that for the bad purposes, but if you actually get good reviews from your buyers, that's why it's important to reach back to them. If they like the t-shirt, then you can put those reviews in your page. And then for shipping address, you are shipping from a particular address. It's not going to say Printful is shipping this from this address, right? You want to have your own address for your business in those invoices. You need to look professional. So if you don't want this if you have a business address, use that. If you don't, you can use your personal address, but it's better to get like a PO box so you can put at least that address there. And then, as I said before, speed of the site is going to affect a lot your conversions. The higher the speed, the higher the conversion. The slower the speed, the lower the conversion as well. So go through your website. If you have a lot of crap in there regarding many different apps, just remove them. Make it very simple. Prioritize for conversions and speed, and forget about the rest. And then the quality, right? You make sure that the products you sell are top quality. So always make sure that whoever you are using for printing has quality t-shirts, so always make sure that the customers are happy with those. And one of the things you can do is to buy some samples yourself first. That's what I did. So you can see the material of those samples, right? And then ask for feedback to the customers to understand how things are being received. And I want to show you the next slide because this actually happened to me, right? You see here a combination of things that happened. Let's start on the left-hand side. I know the left-hand side is a different design. I was also trying to sell this one. But this is one of my customers. They reached out to me and they sent this picture to me, highlighting all the problems with this hoodie. Now, if you pay attention, you will see here, for example, the design was actually printed on top of the seam. So it's really it doesn't look nice, right? And then if you look here on the left-hand side, you can see this is like darker than the other side. This was oil. Some of these printing stores, they, there is some oily material that goes with the design or the printing process, that they say that goes away, but actually it's not nice, one, if the customer, receive this like that. And second, I think in this case, and they were trying to wash it for a few times, this wasn't going away. So you send them something that is totally crap, So just make sure that you have a support channel for them to get back to you if this is happening, because one, you need to send them a new one, and second, you need to fix the problem. Like when you receive something like this, then you don't know how many others maybe the printing company has sent, right? Yes, I was printful for my store, but the thing is, I started using someone else, a local company that was printing and sending it to them. So that was a mistake, and I had to change. This one here in the middle, you can see that it's dirty. There is like some black a sticker or something happened here. This other one here, where you see the yellow stickers, there are 3 holes in the middle of the t-shirt. And for this one here, you can see, like, if I show you, if we pay attention again to the design, where this is like the full width and height of the t-shirt, this is how they received it, right? So they just printed this in the middle. They didn't really pay attention to the samples I gave them or I showed them of how this was supposed to be printed. So there is a lot of stuff going on, and obviously you want to spend the less time possible dealing with all these things. You want to be very successful and have a very, very low, percentage of returns. So the other thing is, I was scammed about $1,000. So I'm gonna, why this happened is very easy, right? You remember I was telling you that some of these designs initially was, printed by a different company. Well, at some point they closed the business, but instead of closing the business and notifying the, the buyers of a service like me, those who were printing the t-shirts, right, and saying, hey, don't use us anymore because we are closing business, they didn't say anything. And so I was sending orders, let's say 10, 15, 20 orders on a daily basis, until, I realized that those orders weren't being shipped. And I had to call them a few times. I didn't respond. And, in the end, I was able to basically, I had to stop it. But what happened is they never shipped those orders to my customers. So I ended up losing about $1,000. And now when you put all the numbers together, I want you to understand this page very clearly, right? You will see lots of videos out there on YouTube that say how to make $100,000, how to sell $60,000 in this case of of t-shirts. Well, I sold $60,000 of t-shirts, but that doesn't mean I made a profit out of them. So I spent about 6 or 9 months trying to build this business, right? Yes, I sold $60,000 worth of t-shirts. On average, the prices were $19, $20 every t-shirt, 21, 22, right? 22 and a half, 25 sometimes. It depends, right? Sometimes you have to do campaigns. Sometimes you have to try different prices to see what sells better. But I was paying on average about $15 for the printing of those t-shirts, right? And that's, about $40,000 in total. And then you have to consider the Facebook ads. So Facebook ads for me represented about $22,000. So it was taking me on average about $8.25 for every purchase. So remember, we said we are doing $5 ads, right? So you will have ads in there. You have to play with $5 ads. You have to play with $3 ads. And some of them will not sell, and you have to cut them very quickly. You have to kill them very quick, like day 1 if you can, or day 2, right? Because now that's a spends that is, you've had that is not working. You need to change that very quickly for a different one. And so on average, I was getting a purchase every $8.25. So this means that I spent another $22,000. And then you have to account for the expenses of running the store, like, the Shopify or the different apps or the telephone number or the virtual assistants and all this stuff. That's another $1,000 for me. And then I was scammed another $1,000, right? So I lost about $4,000 with this business. Um, I basically stopped doing it because I couldn't get it, to sell more or faster, or I couldn't reduce the Facebook ads expense per purchase. Now, if you are in the business of selling t-shirts, compare these numbers to yours and see if this is the same or different. You want to build a business that allows you to actually get 10 or 20% profit so you can live out of it. And this was not like sustainable for me long term. But if you are selling t-shirts and you want to use my design, or if you want to start selling t-shirts because things have changed out there is a new strategy on Facebook, there is a new strategy with TikTok, whatever strategy you are using, I'm adding a link to the description of this video that has all this stuff that I use for my successful design. So I have PNGs in there for the 200 names I use for all those ladies who bought those t-shirts. I have a Photoshop PSD file so you can make new names, right, if you want. I also have in there a Photoshop PSD file for the store mockups that I used in the different colors. Obviously you can go in Photoshop and change all the design altogether if you want, and instead of using the hippiegramma, you use your own design. You can use it, in Photoshop, or actually you can use it in Canva or some of the tools that you may be using today. I also provide in that file some Facebook scaling tips, some of the emails I was using for those people who were actually not who were abandoning the carts, and also the scripts I was using for my free telephone number. And now the big reveal. So the big reveal is, at some point when I was discussing with these scammers, how I could maybe revert the situation or maybe sell more. What they told me is that the people who sell lots of t-shirts actually sell counterfeited t-shirts. I'm like, WTF, I don't want to do that, So be aware that this happens. You will find a lot of people who make a ton of money and talk about it, like on YouTube, on here and there, where they are selling, potentially, maybe, it's t-shirts with like music groups and rock bands and, football team stuff and all this stuff that I don't want to do because I don't have the rights for it. So that's the big revelation. When I knew about it, obviously that was the tip of the iceberg that made me actually leave this business. So I'm not doing it anymore. Feel free to use my designs. Thank you for watching. If you like this content, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much for watching, and talk to you soon.